So I get it. It is what it is, but let's talk about it. So before I get started, if you are watching me live, make sure you say hey in the comments. Drop where you thing, because a lot of tax pros and a lot of different people are saying like you get 10,000. I don't know, 10,000 for one kid, 15,000 for two kids, 20,000 for three kids. You got a whole lot of different numbers that go along with those kids, and that is not how taxes work, and that is not how you determine how much you get for kids. It doesn't matter if you have kids. You just don't just get a magic number in reference to a refund. Your refund, tax refund, is based off credits and deductions and how much you actually paid in federal taxes during the year. All of those things combined make up your tax refund. Now, when it comes to how much you get for the dependents, it depends on what credits you qualify for. So, it's two main credits that you get a dollar amount for if you qualify for them, saying that your income is in the limits, or if your dependents are a certain age, then you qualify for them, and that is the EITC and the child tax credit. Now, let me break down like how much you get for each one of those credits and how they work. And then we'll talk about a couple of other things that you can get for your dependent, depending on their age, and how you come up with that number, or possibly what you're going to get at the end when it's time to calculate your refund for your dependent. So we'll start with EITC. We're going to start out with EITC because EITC is the bigger tax credit when it comes to getting money for your dependent. Now, everybody do not qualify for EITC. EITC, the tax credit, is for low, moderate income taxpayers. So it started at a certain dollar amount, and then they have a maximum amount that you can make in order for you to qualify for the credit. Now, I can tell you this. The lower your income is, the lower amount you qualify for the credit, and the higher your income is, the lower you qualify for the credit. It's a sweet spot, like a sweet dollar amount of income that you have to make for you to qualify for the maximum amount of the credit that you always see floating around out here. So, first of all, you can get EITC for no dependents, but your income usually have to be like under 14,000, 15,000, 16,000, something like that. And the higher it is towards that number, the lesser you get for that. But we'll just throw that out there. The maximum amount you can get is 632 for that. Then you have for one kid, the maximum amount that you can get for earned income tax credit for one kid is $4,213. Now that number increases every single year, a couple of $100. It don't be nothing just extravagant, but it increases every year a couple of hundred of dollars. So for one kid, $4,213. Now you got to be in the sweet spot to get the maximum amount. If you're not in the sweet spot to get the maximum amount, then that number varies. It goes down. It decreases. The lower your income is, the higher your income is. And then at some point, it just starts to phase out. For two kids, it's 6,960, and then for three kids, it's 7,830. Now, the people who are getting the max amount again are people whose income is in the sweet spot. Now people ask like, what is the sweet spot? The sweet spot is anywhere between 12,000 to, I say, 19,000. You might not get that exact number, but you will get the majority of that dollar amount. Now, what you need to know is if you're self-employed, you'll get the max amount, but you won't get the max amount when as actually in your pocket in the refund. Why? Because your self-employment taxes have to come out of it if you have not paid them year round. So even though you might qualify for it, you might not get the full amount. The sweet spot for the maximum amount is for W-2 employees. Now, you have the EITC. Last week I talked about the ages of the EITC, but because you might didn't watch my video from last week, so let's just say what the age is for you to qualify for EITC. So your dependent has to be 18 or under, or 19 to 23, a full-time student, or they got to be totally permanently disabled, and it doesn't matter what age they are. Okay. Then you have a child tax credit. The child tax credit is up to $2,000. That do not mean that every person that claimed they're dependent, they're going to get $2,000 for each one of those dependents. Now, with a child tax credit, it's a calculation. It's like a certain percentage of however much your AGI is, and based off how many dependents you have. That's how you calculate the child tax credit. That's why everybody's not going to get $2,000 for the child tax credit. So, with the child tax credit, $1,700 up to $1,700 is refundable. So you also got to understand how the credits works, because you have credits that are non-refundable and you have credits that are refundable. I'm not going to go be long-winded and tell you how that actually works, but it's a difference between a non-refundable credit and a refundable credit. The EITC is a refundable credit. The child tax credit is a non-refundable credit, but it can interchange and you can qualify for the additional child tax credit, and that's the refundable portion that you could possibly get back up to $1,700. Now, to qualify for child tax credit, your dependents have to be under the age of 17. So if your dependent turned 17 anytime in 2024, even if they turned 17 on December 31st, you will not qualify for child tax credit this tax season. So those are the two main credits that determines whether or not you get earned income tax credit. Now the other component, not get earned income tax credit, but those are the two credits that are the main credits that you get money for your dependents for. Now, the other component of how much you get for your dependent is going to be determined by, did you pay some taxes or have some taxes, federal taxes, not just Social Security and Medicare, state, but federal taxes. Did you have some federal taxes taken out of your wages during the tax year? Why is that important? Because one, the child tax credit is a non-refundable credit, so it could possibly help you get some of that money back. Number two, if your tax liability zero out and you qualify for both of those credits, then guess what's going to happen? You now get the money back that you had withheld from your wages. So when people say, "Oh, you get $10,000 for one kid, you get $15,000, $20,000 for two kids," whatever number they're giving you, they cannot tell you how much you're going to get for a dependent. Why? Because it has a lot of variables that are in place that determines how much you can get back. So the question is, can someone get, 8, 9, 10,000 back for one child? That is not common, right? That is not a common refund. So if you're not getting $8, $9, $10,000 back for one child, you good, because that is not common. And if you are getting it back, you need to ask whoever's doing your taxes, like, what credits did you qualify for to get that dollar amount back, so that you can, avoid having some fraud going on your tax return. Because a lot of times when people are getting that dollar amount back, not all the time, but the majority of the time, is some type of fraud going on. So a person that would get that dollar amount back is a person that's in the sweet spot. So a person that qualifies for the $4,200 for the EITC. It's kind of hard for somebody to get the full child tax credit for the sweet spot of the EITC. That's why A lot of times they just be lying or they be doing something fraudulent. But you still can get some child tax credit and for that dependent. Now the other thing would be somebody who's in the sweet spot, which this rarely happens too, but it does happen. Somebody that's in the sweet spot and they actually have federal taxes withheld, then that can be a beneficial to them. So those are the type of people that will get that dollar amount back, and that's for 2 kids, 3 kids, whatever. It has to have all those 3 components in there in order for them to get those types of refunds, literally. Then you have like higher income people that might not qualify for, like, say, the EITC, but they might have paid a whole lot of money in federal withholdings, and they might be getting a lot of different tax deductions that allow them to get maybe, possibly, something close to, say, 7, 8. But that's rare for 1 kid. So the answer to your question is, how much do you get from 1 dependent? The answer is, I can't tell y'all for real. I can only tell y'all a different factors that you can utilize to calculate or what it takes to actually get money for your dependents. You got to put the information in the software. TurboTax, let a tax pro do it, whatever you're going to do it. It got to go into a computer, or we got to go look at a chart in order for us to determine how much you're going to get for your dependents. So when you're screaming, oh, I made this a dollar amount, I got 2 kids, how much I'm getting back? Nobody can tell you that. Nobody can tell you that. And if you are screaming that, then a lot of times, I don't even say that. If somebody's coming back with a dollar amount when you say that, then most of the time they're somebody who's going to participate in fraud. So if you're looking for somebody to do fraud, that's how you know. Because if they're going to answer you and give you a number, then that's, why. Now, it's 2 other credits that you can get money or that can help you get money for your dependents, and that is the child care credit. Now, with the child care credit, it's a non-refundable credit. So that means that you cannot get actual dollars back for that credit. What that credit does is, if you had taxes, if you had federal taxes withheld and you did not zero out your tax liability, what the child care credit will do is it will help you reduce your tax liability, or it will help reduce your tax liability to 0, and then it helps you qualify and get the refundable portion of the other credits. So that's what the child care credit does. That's why everybody don't qualify for the child care credit. You might be doing your taxes, and then you put your child care, the dollar amount you put in there, and then your refund doesn't move. And the reason why it's not moving is because you don't qualify for that credit, because 9 times out of 10 your tax liability has zeroed out, or your income is too low. Well, I don't even say too low, because if it's lower, then you automatically end up zeroing out. So that's why you might not qualify for the child care credit. Everybody don't qualify. It doesn't matter if you pay child care or not. It's everything with the taxes. If y'all did not know, it's a calculation, and you have to meet certain tests and criteria in order for you to qualify. Now, the last credit that you can get for your dependents is the education credit. And the education credit is for people who are attending college or a technical school, and they are between the ages of 19 to 23. After 23, you cannot get the education credit for your dependent. You can get an education credit if you're over the age of 23, but if you have a dependent over the age of 23, you cannot get a education credit for your dependent. Now, in order to get the education credit, everybody who goes to school do not get the education credit. That's a myth that goes around as well. You have to qualify for the education credit to get the education credit. Now, it's two different education credits. The one that everybody talk about the most is the American Opportunity Credit, and that because a portion of it is refundable, so it helps your refund goes up even if you're in the low and moderate income. And that is if you qualify for that credit. One, you have to have a 1098T, and then two, you have to have paid out of pocket expenses for your dependents' tuition, books, and equipment. Okay, you have to have paid out of pocket expenses. And out of pocket expenses could be that you took out a student loan for it. But if your dependent gets a full grants, like grants, scholarships, any of those things to pay for the full amount of your dependent's tuition, regardless if they get a 1098T or not, you do not qualify for the credit. And it's you can look at the 1098T to kind of determine whether or not you qualify. But I guess the other part of it is if, say, you had to go buy the books and the equipment that's mandatory, and that won't necessarily show on the 1098T. But if you got a 1098T and you got the receipts for that, then you're able to write off the education credit. Now, with those credits, I think it's $2,000 for the lifetime learning credit that you can get up to. But that's a non-refundable credit. And then for the American Opportunity Credit, you can get a credit for up to $2,500, $1,000 refundable. And so again, you have to qualify for the credit. So when it comes to your dependents, you got to do your taxes to find out how much you're going to qualify for them. As far as the different types of credits, it's kind of hard for someone to give you an estimate if they don't put the information in the computer, because it's not going to be like, oh, you get EITC for your kids, so you're going to automatically get $6,900 for 2 kids. It's other variables, if other income, because earned income credit only goes by earned income. So if you don't have earned income like wages, tips, business income, farm income, then you do not qualify for the earned income tax credit. So that means people who might draw Social Security, people who just only have unemployment, people who only get retirement income. If that's all you have and you're claiming some dependents, then you don't qualify for the earned income tax credit. So to wrap the video up, again, it's different variables. Do not get caught up going to tax pros who are advertising these different types of numbers in reference to what you can get for your dependent. Ultimately, that's a marketing tactic. They can pique your interest or whatever, but when you get there and they can't explain things the way I'm trying to explain them to you, then you might want to run. People are in business to make money, and so of course they want to get you in the doors. I want you to come to my doors, so at the end of the day, just be cautious when you see those things, and don't be so turned on to those things, because you're gonna be a lot of times end up getting put in a trap of going to people that's not really credible and reputable when it comes to doing your taxes. So just be cautious. If anybody's promising you a tax refund dollar amount based off your kids, that's kind of spammy. Be cautious. Again, nobody can tell you how much you're getting for your dependents because there's too many variables involved. Now, if you're watching a replay, let me tell you again, make sure you drop in the comments where you from. Make sure you drop in the comments and say replay. Let me know that you're watching it. Good morning, Miss Clara. Let me know that you're watching the video. Make sure y'all share this video out. It's certain videos, I care you share all of them out, but it's certain ones that I really want y'all to share out, because it's so much, so many myths, so many lies about certain things, and this is one of them. So make sure you share this video out so that we can get education to people who are not aware of how taxes, dependents, and refunds actually work. Last thing is, if you're looking for a tax pro, I am always accepting new clients. I'm ready to see my existing clients. When y'all get y'all documents, make sure y'all upload y'all stuff. Make sure y'all come set up an appointment. And for people who are looking for new tax pros, ones that's knowledgeable, two ones that still will maximize your refund, that still, you know what I'm saying, will help you reduce your tax liability. That would be me. Hey, y'all names. Is that Lawana? Latawana. Good morning. In Brooklyn, New York. Hey, girl, is it cold out there? Good morning, Tracy. How are you? Can't wait to see you. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Um, yeah, make sure you share. If you know someone who's looking for a good tax pro, um, tag them in the comments. Tag them in the comments so they can check me out. Send them our information. If you're out of state, no problem. No problem. We can do your test no matter where you're at. Oh, I bet it is freezing, girl. I bet it is freezing. It's cold down here in Georgia, so I'm sure it's freezing in New York. But yeah, tag them in the comments. Share the information out. If you're in our local area, which is Columbus, Georgia, and Atlanta, Georgia, our office is in Stone Mountain, which is the outskirt of Atlanta, definitely call our location. Email us to schedule an appointment. We do accept walk-ins. We do accept drop-offs. So however you need to get your taxes done, come see us at Xpert. The links is in the comments. I will see y'all next week. Make sure if you're not following the page, to follow the page. We give good tax tips every single day. Not just on Wednesdays. I do videos and drop videos pretty much almost every day. They're just not as long as these on different things. Good morning, Tiffany. They're not as long as these, but they do get to the point and give you the information that you need. So make sure you're following our page. Make sure y'all are coming on our posts. Like we give y'all a good tax tip. You know, give us a thumbs up. Tell us, okay, thank you for sharing. You know, share the post out, because how else are we going to be able to combat against all this misinformation, all these wrong information? It's a bad feeling, you know, to expect something, expect a certain dollar amount because somebody don't hype you up and told you some lies. And